So this one, yeah, the topic is hypocrisy. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. It's like, come on, like you had to make a general. No, but this is different than like, the don't be a hypocrite angle. Okay, so my suggestion in this video that I'm going to talk about to you is to embrace hypocrisy. Okay, and of course, that's cool because it's controversial. No one would say that. I guess I say that though. I totally say that. Because at no point is anyone not hypocritical. I mean, you can, and it's not that like you. Now the thing about understanding stuff like this, right, is that embrace doesn't mean like fucking it, right? It's kind of like, I mean, embrace me. It's kind of like is maybe the topic here is more like about embrace, rather than hypocrisy, because embrace hypocrisy makes sense to me in the way that I think about embrace, like in the sense of like embracing something. It's like you don't have to totally go there with it, right? But it's going to be a factor kind of in your experience, where really, if you're working through your cognitive biases, and hopefully you are, because you're watching this and stuff, so if you're trying to do that, like you're going to encounter your own hypocrisy, and it's some people will just completely reject the notion that they have any conflicting ideas at all. They'll just completely reject this notion. I mean, and that is so fundamentally wrong that, I mean, everyone knows that, right? But then, most people are still uncomfortable with the fact that they're hypocritical. Like, it is uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable with my deep hypocrisies, which I could talk about, but that would make me lose subscriber. But anyway, like, once you start to admit that you're limited, and being limited doesn't mean that you not only can't do things. Limitations can also come in the form of contradictions, and the thing that we have to understand is that although the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light, it is still small. It's not infinite. Like, it's small compared to infinite. Even though it's expanding faster than the speed of light, it's still small compared to infinite. If you think about that comparison, like something that has a size versus, whatever that concept is, that doesn't even really make sense. But I mean, infinite is what we're in, but we're okay. So this is tricky to explain. Like, we are infinite, that is true, and that's a cool concept and stuff, but like, the universe is constrained. And so part of constraint is also that there are, like, how can I explain this in a good way? Okay, I know that I didn't come into this very prepared. Honestly, I don't really prepare for this. I just kind of turn on this camera and start talking, and I know I'm going to have to get better at this if I wanted, like, but I can just make these videos. It's really fun, so, like, I don't know, it's like, it's fun to do this even. Like, I can like look at myself, and then it looks weird, it's kind of like, actually, that one doesn't look too bad. I could almost look at myself. Anyway, that's really, really off topic. I'm sorry. I'm just like titillated with the fact that I'm broadcasting, honestly. It's a newbie mistake, be like, I'm on TV, Mom. Because I'm not really on TV. I think I sent this to my mom, though, the last one. Anyway, sorry, guys. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm like developing an ego complex about being a broadcaster, like my second video into, like, it's just bizarre, But we should get back on the topic. So once you can start to admit that you have contradicting views, like, you can understand them like stars hitting each other or like planets hitting each other. It can be like a physical thing that happens. And people don't question why asteroids hit the Earth. They're not questioning that. But I mean, that is a way bigger deal than you having like some conflicting views, and being able to admit that, you can kind of see different sides of things, and you can see different perspectives of things, is actually, like, pretty big, and I know that probably most people think that they do that, but the extent to which you can do that is tricky. And the thing is that you don't want to totally go there, though. Like, you don't want to totally embrace being totally hypocritical, particularly doing things that you don't believe are a good idea. You shouldn't do that kind of hypocrisy. But you are going to maybe, find yourself, a good example, right, is you are an environmentalist, and I was an environmentalist, right, really seriously, from being a young teen, and at the age of 16, you know, or 15 or so, I was like a hyper vigilant vegan, and like I carried literally all my garbage with me in my backpack at all times because I wouldn't throw anything in the garbage. And like, you know, I mean, I was also, you know, using electricity to make music with a bass and stuff, but I mean, I was still hypocritical, of course, and eventually I broke down and ate an omelet, and I felt better than I ever have since then. Honestly, it was the greatest moment of my life. But like, you know, I couldn't deal with the hypocrisy of living in the most consumer-driven, you know, colonial Western society, like really Saskatchewan. Sorry to offend anyone, but it's far out. Like people who live here, who are, you know, privileged people living in Saskatchewan, really often have no concept of the rest of the world. No offense. Like I mean, lots of people do travel and stuff, but some people don't really. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't make broad. I shouldn't say broad things like that. Lots of people travel. Lots of people know about stuff, but really we consume a lot here. We use a lot of resources in Saskatchewan. I couldn't fathom like how this was okay, you know. But actually, you know, since then I've come to be okay with it, and come to be okay with literally using 5 times as much resources as the average person on Earth. And probably more than that too, because I've got this huge studio in here and stuff too, and it's like, well, it's not huge, it's tiny, but it has a lot of gear in it, and there's another one downstairs and stuff. But I'm using a lot of resources, right? But I've come to accept that, like, I mean, obviously I have self-interest, and like that's okay. It's okay to have self-interest. If you don't, you're not going to be able to. I mean, obviously everyone knows that one, you know, but I mean, you don't have to have your views like completely line up with your actions in every way. Like obviously you should strive to do that, and you shouldn't have like gross offenses against your views, because that'll drive you crazy. But you can level with a little bit of like of this kind of level. I don't know. Should I talk more quietly? Nah, I don't know. It would be more broadcast. Like it's more. I was told once to speak more like this, I think. I'm going to take a vote. Should I talk like this? Because I could talk like this. I can talk like this pretty loud, actually, and still have this kind of tone. It's a certain kind of tone. I think that's what she meant, actually. And it is kind of nicer, you know, it's more reassuring a little bit. But I'm not trying to be that reassuring. I'm trying to be more like shocking and, you know, embrace hypocrisy.